And we also have with us a regular on this show, another personal friend of mine, Miss Norma Jackson, who is working at a youth development center and has for many years been an educator and has some insights to add as to why many of our young people may be set up and channeled and directed into the prison industrial complex.
I want to start by just going back to my years of work in the public school system. And I taught kindergarten for 25 years. And one of the things that was fascinating to me was that when I got children, they would come to me bright eyed, eager to learn, always having dreams. And what I noticed, because I was teaching in a small rural school that went from K to 12, I got a chance to watch those children as they progressed through the school system. And somewhere around the fourth grade, I would begin to notice something happening, especially with the boys. A lot of them would begin to act out in ways that they hadn't acted out in before. The grades would drop. And so that was interesting. And then I ran across a series of books, and the title of those books, there were about four of them, The Conspiracy to Destroy Black Boys. And it put a lot into context for me, reading those books and thinking about how, like you were saying, the society has certain expectations of African children in this country. Looking at the historical legacy, first of all, of the fact that we were not even supposed to be able to learn to read and write. There were times in this country's history where there were laws against that. So the whole educational process for African children has been a little bit different. The fight to have equality in the school system, Brown versus Board of Education, if you look back at the Little Rock Nine and all of that, all of those social things that happened, then the integration came. And in my opinion, that was one of the things that has had the most detrimental effect on our young people in terms of socialization. We were a community of people prior to integration that had control over our children. But with integration, we lost that. We lost the ability to have our children in our communities where we could discipline them the way that, we knew worked, where we could have control over their comings and goings in a certain way. And we began to take on habits as a culture that were not necessarily in our best interest. So all of those factors came together. So having said that, watching children in the school system go through the school system, and then somewhere around 13, 14 years old, watching how our children, especially our boys, began to be caught up in the juvenile, quote, justice system. That's another whole phenomena, because once they get in there, you hear 13, 14-year-olds talking about having parole officers. It's common. And where I'm working now, that's an everyday occurrence. So that school system, and notice I'm saying system behind all of these things, is systemic problems that we're suffering from. These systems, school system, feeds into the criminal justice system for youth, and straight on into the penal system. So none of this stuff happens by accident. It happens by design. And our young people, the brother, you mentioned hip hop, and I love hip hop. I think some wonderful things have come out of hip hop, but I also think hip hop has been co-opted in a lot of ways, and that the culture has been criminalized. When young people do certain things and it becomes to be a pattern, then it becomes illegal. And then you've got another whole thing. We can't overlook the impact of drugs, and in particular crack cocaine, and the impact that that has had on our communities in terms of young people looking for quick money. They don't want to flip hamburgers when they can sell crack and make much more money. This community, Ayana, I really appreciate you sharing your story with us. And there are so many mothers in this community that I could probably, spout off. If you drive around this town of less than 12,000 people, you'll see little crosses placed here and there. And each one of those crosses represents some mother's son who's been killed, not to mention those that have been incarcerated. So this is a problem that happens in big cities, and it also happens in small communities, and there are all kinds of social factors that feed into that. My concern is that we've tried political remedies, we've tried social remedies, we have tried things economic, we know that economics always helps, money helps situations, but I am convinced that what is wrong or what is going on with our people is going to take a spiritual solution. It's going to take, because our young people and our adults are disconnected from themselves. They are actually disembodied people. Their spirits have been wounded sometimes beyond repair. And so in order for us to reclaim our children, we're going to have to figure out, and I'm not necessarily talking about taking them to church on Sunday. That's good if they go. That's a wonderful thing. But I'm talking about the spirit of these young people that has been so deadened by television, by video games, by all of this external stuff that is feeding them. The rise of ADD and all of these other whatever they're calling them now.
Attention deficit.
Yeah.
Hyperactive disorder.
All of these things that they're medicating them for. On our campus, Youth Development Center, 95% of the young people are on some kind of medication. There's something wrong with that. And so what I'm saying is that you're talking about, new solutions. We're going to have to figure out a way to be able to get our young people and transform them from the inside out. The work is going to have to be done from the inside out, and that's a spiritual solution.